Let's be completely honest. You're not supposed to be on YouTube right now watching videos. Am I right? Today, I'm going to share with you 4 tools that I use regularly to keep myself accountable and complete my work when a deadline is approaching. Don't you have an important exam coming up? How far away is it? A couple of months away? A few weeks or tomorrow? Maybe it's tomorrow and you're busy kicking yourself for all the time that you wasted not studying. Or maybe you can't feel anything. You literally have no motivation. If you think you're alone right now, don't be. This is a feeling that I get multiple times a week and maybe I can help you deal with it. Hey there friends, welcome back to the channel. It's Rahul here. Even though the title of this video is how to study when you don't feel like it, you can use each of these 4 tools to improve your productivity in your areas of work and even in your personal life. So this video is basically for anybody trying to do anything. You can use these tools to help you study better, complete an assignment that's coming up, as well as work on your long-term goals. Before we get started, I have just one request for you. If you don't mind, please like my video and subscribe to my channel FilterCoffeeFinance. It'll let the YouTube algorithm know that you guys love me and also allow more people to see my videos. I love you guys, thanks a lot, and let's get right into it. Number 1, start tracking yourself. You can't create what you don't know, and you don't know what you don't track. Tracking your work can be done in several ways. But the best way that I know how is to use a boring old stopwatch. I like to use my 12-year-old Casio G-Shock and start a timer. Why? Because I love the simplicity. It literally takes me a push of a button to get started, and I am not tempted to look at any Instagram notifications while I use this watch. So why should you start tracking yourself? Say that you have a goal of completing a project at work or acing an exam like your 12th grade boards. How do you know if you're on track or not? One way could be how confident you feel when you finish sections of your project or chapter that you've been studying. If you're on track, you know that you're finishing your work on time. But think about it, there is no way of telling how your studying is going until you start doing mock exams. The time to do mock exams could be months into the future, and by the time you get to that stage, there are only 2 possible outcomes. Either you prepared well and you're going to do well in your exam, or you're not. But at the last minute, there are no changes that you can do. But what if you looked at studying as a daily routine, a job that you just needed to do? Say you're in January and your exams are in April. You have exactly 3 months to get exam ready. Hypothetically speaking, in those 3 months, if you do a meaningful 8 hours of study each day, that means that by the time your exam rolls around in April, you'd have completed 720 hours of solid work. I'll just attach a quote that my future friend Alex Hormozy loves using.
You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt.
Tracking each and every single day helps you build a journal where you can see without a doubt that you've done all the work necessary to absolutely murder those exams. I must warn you though that tracking can end up being a double-edged sword. There might come a period where you're low on motivation and are not able to put in the 8 hours of study that you needed. When this happens, you need to remember to be kind to yourself and realize that you being low on motivation is actually your body's way of telling you that it's tired. Don't be afraid to take a more relaxed approach. And when you're feeling tired, try out the next step. Number 2, go out walking and experience nature. This is probably the simplest solution on the list, but is also the one that my brain always tries to convince itself that it doesn't need to do. We spend so much of our days in artificial lighting surrounded by 4 walls. Do you really think that these modern habits have no effect long term? There is more than enough scientific evidence that points to the fact that artificial light can wreak havoc on natural body rhythms. Unnatural light interrupts sleep and it confuses the circadian rhythm, your body's own internal clock. Not getting enough natural sunlight is also heavily linked to feelings of sadness and depression, as well as overall increased stress levels. If you're feeling overly stressed right now, I'm willing to bet that you've not yet stepped out and gone for a walk today. Even though it's tough, guys, get your butt off the couch and go and get some sunlight. You'll thank yourself later. Pro tip, when you do finally step out of your room and go for a walk, leave your phone and all of your thoughts that you're worried about back at home. Make it a point to focus on just being physically present in the moment. We spend so much of our time each day worrying about the past or the future that we end up being ghosts in our own lives. Take back control of your own thoughts and observe the beauty and chaos in the world around you. If you live in a messy, noisy city like Bangalore, find a park or some place that has greenery and observe nature fighting for its place everywhere you go. Feel the breeze passing through you and focus on bringing your mind to the present moment and not in your past or in your future. Even if you're the kind of person who works out every day, I would strongly suggest that you block at least 20 minutes each day to go out for a walk and focus on being in the present. Once you finish your 20 or 30 minutes of nature, you might notice that you come back home feeling a little tired or maybe even sweaty. Drink as much water as your body needs and notice how much more relaxed you're feeling. Now it's time to get to work. Number 3, focus on your one thing. Let's say that you just started tracking the number of hours that you're working. That's a great first step. But what's the point in jumping from one task to another if you're not going to get any important work done? When you do start working, take some time to answer this question. What is the one task that I can complete such that by doing it, everything else becomes irrelevant or unnecessary? For example, say that earlier in the day, you finished studying a numerically heavy chapter, but have only flipped through your notes. In that moment, the one thing that you need to do is solve the problems at the end of the chapter. No other task matters as much, because if you're not able to sit down and practice, you won't be able to cement the knowledge that you have gained. And there's a very high probability that in 3 or 4 days you'll forget what you've studied. When it comes to our day-to-day lives, there are also several examples of work that we do that doesn't accomplish anything. It only makes us feel productive. We tend to open and read through and reply to our emails at work instead of finishing the presentation that's coming due. And we go for multiple coffee breaks every 30 minutes just so that we can avoid doing what really matters. 80% of the results that you see in life will come from 20% of the work that you do. A lot of us here still have this old way of thinking where we think if you do more work, you will see more results. But that is just not true. Just because you choose to do an unimportant task well, it doesn't suddenly make the task important. Number 4, set short deadlines. Have you ever noticed that if you need to leave work early to get to a doctor's appointment, all of the stuff that would typically take the whole day to get done gets completed by 11 a.m. Because you know you need to be somewhere else, the short deadline ensures that you won't be distracted by anything or anyone. This is known as Parkinson's law, i.e. work expands to fill the time that's allotted for its completion. Especially when you have less motivation to study your work, you'll notice that you tend to do the tasks that eat up the whole day. But as we mentioned earlier, pick the one thing that you can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes irrelevant or unnecessary. And of course, set a quick deadline to complete it. You can have as much relaxation time as you need when you complete your one thing, but you should go out there and get it done. If you plan on setting a deadline that you think should take you 3 hours of work, get it done in 3 hours. Don't get distracted by people, emails, and meetings while you're completing this task. And keep asking yourself the question, am I working smart or am I just being busy? I know it's tough to stay motivated all of the time, but there is also no point in being busy all of the time if the work that you're trying to complete has no real importance or significance. Remember, the goal is to get ahead and stay there, not to be busy. If you enjoyed this video, check out my entire self-improvement library on YouTube. In this library, you'll find short summaries to best-selling books such as Atomic Habits and The 4-Hour Workweek, just to name a few. If you can pick up even one idea from each of these videos and implement them in your day-to-day, trust me, you'll see a huge improvement in the quality of your work as well as your mental well-being. Thanks for watching, friends. Let me know if there are any other topics or videos that you'd like to see me cover in the future. And until we meet again, this is FilterCoffeeFinance signing off.